Okay. So when there is a murmur, it means that it is an involvement of the endocardium. Usually the common valve that is involved in rheumatic heart disease is carditis. Is the first valve is mitral valve, and it is in the form of mitral regurgitation. It is a high pitched holosystolic murmur radiating to axilla. And there may be an apical mid-systolic murmur also in some cases. And this is high-pitched decrescendo diastolic murmur and in the upper sternal bottom. There may be an aortic regurgitation if there is an involvement of the aortic valve. The sequelae, the mitral insufficiency, some loss of valvular muscle due to shortening and thickening of the chordae due to inflammation. In the mitral stenosis, the sequelae are the carditis sequelae in the mitral valve is mitral stenosis. It takes a longer duration to develop after an attack of ERF. Fibrosis, the mitral ring, commissural adhesions, the reason for that, contracture of the valve leaflets, chordae and papillary muscles. Opening snap, low pitched, rumbling mitral diastolic murmur with pre-systolic accentuation ending in loud first sound. Those are the sequences. In aortic insufficiency, it is because of the regurgitation that happens due to involvement of the aortic valve, and that is due to sclerosis of the aortic valve, and and it leads to distortion and retraction of the cup. It manifests in the form of early diastolic murmur on the left sternal bottom, and an apical pre-systolic murmur also may be heard. This is called Austin Flint murmur. Coming to the pseudonym scoria. This scoria occurs in about 10 to 15% of the patients, and it is a late manifestation in the among the major criteria of the rheumatic fever. And sometimes by the time the child comes with chorea, the other manifestation might have been forgotten, and sometimes it is difficult to establish the etiology for this. This is an involuntary movements of the face and limbs. Chorea means it is dance. Choreography means dance. Okay. Chorea, by definition, it is the involuntary muscles, involuntary movements, quasi-purposive, non-repetitive, occurring in the axial group of the muscles. And it is common in females, that too in adolescent age group, mainly involves the face and limbs, and there may be emotional factors also in these young girls. And the other signs are milkmaid grip. When you ask the patient to hold your finger, so because they cannot maintain the grip continuously, they leave it, and they again they want to maintain the grip, so that you feel as though there is milking the cow. Okay, irregular contractions of the muscles of the hands while squeezing the examiner's finger, that's called milkmaid's grip. And when you ask them to extend their limb, so they go for a sort of that is spooning and the pronation of the hands. I will show you the picture in the next slide. Verminous movements of the tongue, then handwriting if you ask, so they cannot maintain properly. So these are the milkmaid sign, and this is, as I told you, so the spooning and pronation. Okay, when you ask them to extend their limb. Then coming to the pseudonym scoria, that is same this thing. Facial grimacing, emotional liability exacerbated by stress, disappearance, and promptly they disappear when they go to sleep. But luckily there are no permanent neurological sequelae. I have told you more common in females. It lasts over minimum 3 months after sore throat. It starts after sore throat and lasts also for 3 months. So next major criteria is erythema marginatum. This is in less than 10% of the patient, and this is appreciated in white people, but in dark people, in brown or dark people. So because they are very very fine reticular markings, we may not appreciate in dark rays, and they are macular, not raised above the skin surface. Serpiginous border, raised edges, central clearing. So the central clearing, there is clear that there is with a border. Most common on trunk, never seen on the face. Evanescent, and it means it appears and disappears very fast. Warmth accentuates lesions. So this is the picture, but this is not that this thing, it is in a fair skin people, it is appreciated well. But you can see here, serpentinous, so you can see the border, and in the central clearance. In the center, there is a clearance. So the same thing you can see here. Okay. So one focused, very closely here. Then coming to the subcutaneous nodules, this is seen only in 5% of the cases. Small, pea-sized, firm, mobile, painless, seen over the extensor surface of the wrist, elbow, and the spine, usually seen in the individuals with long-standing carditis. But whenever there is a subcutaneous nodules, the chances of carditis is more. Okay, so like this, you can see the subcutaneous nodule, and here it's closely focused on. Link of a carditis. When there is a polyarthritis, the carditis possibility is 15 to 75%. When there is a subcutaneous nodules, maximum, more than 90% of the cases, when they have a subcutaneous nodule, they have an association of the carditis. Chorea, about 60 to 75%, the carditis involvement. Okay. Differential diagnosis. Arthritis. When the child presents with arthritis, these are the causes. Rheumatoid arthritis, reactive arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis, usually that is also common in children, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. But the duration is more than 6 weeks. Unless the arthritis goes more than 6 weeks, we don't make a diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis. If it is less than 6 weeks, it is not rheumatoid arthritis. If it is more than 6 weeks, it is not rheumatic fever. What I mean to say, so the arthritis should continue more than 6 weeks only to say it is juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Reactive arthritis, it is an arthritis involving usually the major joints following some enteral infection. So there may be Shigella, Salmonellosis, Yersinia. So there is a gastrointestinal manifestation to start with. A little later, they develop arthritis. This is called reactive arthritis. Lyme's disease and chikungunya. You all know chikungunya during monsoon. So they come with fever, arthralgia, arthritis, like picture, severe and lasting for months to sometimes, it goes up to 1 to 1.5 years. Okay, so that is chikungunya. Carditis, so there are viral myocarditis, pericarditis, infective endocarditis, congenital heart lesions, also to be kept in mind. When there is a chorea, we have Huntington's chorea, Wilson disease, and tics. Tics are the one the habits, due to habits. It is they do it very constant, it ticks, okay, so some sort of movements, okay, it is repetitive. Wilson disease is a liver disease due to copper this thing, and usually it occurs in the first decade, um, uh, in the first 10 years in children. Any child coming with the jaundice, you should suspect Wilson disease also. And in that, if there is jaundice, or whenever it may not be jaundice to start with, when the child comes with chorea, you keep one possibility of Wilson also in mind. Coming to the investigations. Test reflecting tissue inflammation, that is DC, ESR, CRP, that they are called acute phase reactant, the last two are. And to prove the streptococcal preceding infection, ASO titer, anti-DNA, streptozyme, anti-streptokinase, throat culture.